Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming my Got a Thing for Summer wrap up. So if you don't know, Got a Thing for Summer, or Got a Thing for Season as I like to call it, is a seasonal reading challenge where I have 4 books or 4 challenges every single month and I read 4 books every month for those challenges. It's not that complicated. Got a Thing for Autumn will be up soon, like very soon, for new challenges for the next 3 months. I had some issues this time around because books didn't arrive, but I did read everything in the summer but not in their assignments, or like 3 of them, but I will mention that when I get to them. Let's just get started. We are going to talk about 12 books here, so we'll see how it goes. The first challenge for June was to choose a book with a sparkly, shiny, glittery, you name it, cover, and I read Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. This one is kind of shiny, sparkly. I don't know if you can see it that well. For June I also picked all the books matching, is that a word? That sounds weird. For Pride as well, that was what I was going to say. Oh my god, there's shit on it. Excuse you, where did that come from? Either way, I really need to find a better way to wrap up books in my Got a Thing for Season challenges, because I do realize that I cannot remember 3 months later what happened in these books. But yeah, follows Odessa. Is that really her name? I really was sure she had another name. Follows Odessa, who is a necromancer for the royalty of the kingdom, and they keep being resurrected for the ones who wants to, so they have the same king for ages because he's just been resurrected like a billion times. But if you look at the skeletons, because they are like all covered, if you get a glimpse of their skin they turn into monsters, so like there's also their job to make sure that that doesn't happen. If it does happen, the necromancers are responsible for taking down the monster they become. And then in this court that she lives in, a lot of monsters are appearing, and there is like clearly something going afoot here, like within the court. It's kind of like political intrigue thing, but also more like action thing with necromancers. Odessa spends a lot of this time not doing that much because a certain thing happens, and I was kind of not annoyed by her because I understood it, but it made the book drag a bit because I was like, come on, because we all knew she was going to come to this point of not doing anything, but it was a bit like, but I get it, it's natural. I keep looking at the synopsis because I feel like I should explain this better, but I don't know. My nephew just like came around the house and now my mother is there, and this is awkward. The main character is also bisexual, and this has different romances, FF romances, and MF romances, and MM romances, so that's great. I really like the necromancy parts. I think that is always fun to play with death. I like that there's rules and that the rules are broken, and I did like figuring out what was going on in the court, even though it was kind of like, okay, it was a really fun book. I'm interested to finally at the point get the sequel and finish and read on, because I want to see these characters go to greater lengths, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I also think that reviewing a book 2 months later is great. So actually the next 3 books are like the rest ones for June for Pride didn't arrive until July, so I read them all. That was the only one I actually read for Got a Thing for Summer in June, but the rest I read in July. So yeah, but it was my fault because they all arrived so late because delays. The next challenge was to read a book with a POC LGBTQ author over the POC LGBTQ plus character. So I read Clap on Your Land by Elizabeth Escobedo. I knew that one of the main characters here was in an affirmative relationship. It follows these 2 girls that are sisters and they don't know about each other, but then their father dies in this horrible plane crash. The story is a lot around loss. We see these 2 characters handle loss in totally completely different ways. We also see them figuring out about each other. So one of them lives in the Dominican Republic and the other one lives in New York, so they have totally different lives and totally different experiences with their father, who went home in the summers to the Dominican Republic and was in New York all year round. It's just a really beautiful story. I loved how it was written. It was written like Poet X in, what's it called? Prose? No, wait, that's normal. Verse? It's poetry. I don't know words in English, so don't mind me. But yay, overall Elizabeth Escobedo just writes so beautifully. I loved When Fire on High, which is like my fave by her, but I really enjoyed this one. It was just really beautiful and sad, and I love found family, and I just like dealing with loss. It's so hard to read about, but so powerful too. I don't know what more to tell you. It was just really good. yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, I think. The same with the last one, but that was more like 3.5 if we're gonna be very specific. Like the last one, Reign of the Fallen, not the last Elizabeth Echeverria book, either way. The next challenge was to read a book with all voices, transgender representation, and I read Felix Ever After by Casey Callender, and this one followed Sibling Love, who is a black, trans, queer boy, and he wants to find love. His last name is Felix though, but he has never been in love. And then this horrible thing happens at his art school where they hang up pictures of him for his transition and with his dead name, and that's like a big violation. He wants to figure out who did this, etc. He also has a best friend named Ezra, and they are with each other a lot, and their beautiful friendship. This book, I knew it was going to be good, and like it's beautiful, and I knew I was going to like it. But it hit so deep. I was crying, I was screaming. I love this to death. It's like one of my favorite this year, and I don't fall that hard for contemporaries, I feel like. But this one was just so good. It just hit every single spot it wanted to hit. It has so many important themes in it. About privilege, about being transgender, about being queer, about being black, about life, about love, and so many things, and friendship and family, and my heart cannot deal. I'm getting goosebumps in this instant thinking about this book because it was so good, and I would give it all the stars in the world. Stars. I would give it all the stars in the world if I could. It was just this beautiful, stunning story, and if I could have a sequel right now, I would take it because I want to see Felix going in life and just find these experiences and see his relationships in life blossom and see what he would do, because I want to follow him. I want to know he's okay? My heart is soft as merch thinking about this, and I was trying to be a bit quick about talking about books, but apparently that is not working. The next challenge was to choose a LGBT plus fantasy book, and I chose The Tiger's Daughter by K. Arsenal Rivera, which is the first one in the trilogy. It follows a FRF romance relationship, and we are in the Hokaran Empire, and I did really get like a bit like of Japanese inspired fantasy with other inspiration from like not only Japanese but other things. And I know there is criticism against this inspiration. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't feel like I'm in the place to do so. Yes, we should listen, and I will read more about it, but overall I think the book, if you look away from that, is really solid. But of course we shouldn't look away from it. We should be aware of it, etc. But being aware of something and have it in mind is really important, and we shouldn't ignore it, as I said. But yeah, that doesn't mean you cannot enjoy something that has questionable things in it. Yeah, the book itself, it's basically these two girls are born in the same day or in the same amount of time. One of them is from these horse people. I was gonna call them like basically Dothraki in Game of Thrones, and the other one is like in a royal family, and then they basically survive together and apart, trying to defeat demons, and also just like being in this really political climate, and like the girl trying to, you know, she's in a royal family, there's a lot of political intrigue and stuff. And their story and their love for each other and just like the world, I just really enjoyed it. I thought I would use ages on this, and I managed somehow to binge it in one day because it was quite big, okay? It was like 500 something pages. And I just really loved the story, and I loved them, and I loved reading about the demons. I just how the story developed. I thought it was a solid fantasy book, a solid romance. It was really good. It reminded me a bit of the romance like in Pride of the Orange Tree, like in a fantasy setting, and I really enjoyed it. So I give it 4 out of 5 stars. But I do have in mind the criticism it has gotten. I really liked it, okay? And I'm gonna read the rest of the series. Story they had together. I liked it. But yeah, if you know more about The Tiger's Daughter, I would love to have a conversation about like its other aspects in general. So please, I was gonna say hit me, but don't hit me. Please talk to me about it. We are now in July, and the first challenge for July was to choose a book. I keep looking over because I'm too lazy to like bring it with me. To choose a book that makes you feel warm, and I knew that this one would work, and that is The Boy Who Steals Houses by C.G. Juice. This is her second book, and the first one was A Thousand Barefoot Notes, which was one of my faves of 2019, and I cried and I wanted to scream and die, I was gonna say, because it was so beautiful, and this one was beautiful too. I cannot deal, but I think I prefer the first one, just saying. But like, this was so beautiful. It follows two boys, Sam and his brother. Why can't I even remember the brother's name? Basically, Sam breaks into houses because he doesn't have a home, and they like stay in the houses for a few days, and his brother has autism. And the author has confirmed that Sam definitely has two, but it's not on page, but she has confirmed it like on her socials, and she regrets not writing it in the book, just saying. They have struggled a lot because of this, because yeah, they were thrown out and their father left them and their mother left them. I think she did too, so that was really horrible, and they're trying to survive. And he breaks into this one house, and then the next day no one noticed that he has broken in because they are so many kids that they just assume he's a friend of another kid in the house, and he gets this warm feeling, and I'm getting goosebumps because it's just this. My dad just walked past and judged me hard. Yeah. Hi, can you go away? Bye. Why are you waving to me? Please, why are you just go? This is so awkward. I don't know, I have a YouTube channel, by the way, so I don't know what they think I'm doing, by the way. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, he finds this warmth in his heart when he has always been like, no, I should not stay and I should always go away. They are betrayed and abused by everyone, it says on the back, so it really just, you know, it's gonna hit you in the feels. And it's just this beautiful story about finding family and love and accepting love and so many things. My heart is soft. It literally says, then Sam meets a girl whose laugh is a burst of stardust. Ah, I'm getting goosebumps. Ah, it was so good. I don't remember even if I gave it 5 stars. But it was a really, really good, solid contemporary. I keep saying that like, oh my god, contemporary doesn't hit me that hard, and then I literally stand here dying over contemporary, so I don't know what's wrong with me. I totally lost my thread, I think, because my dad came, so I'm just gonna move on, but overall just a story that is beautiful, but it hurts, okay? The next challenge was to choose a book about sibling love. I don't know if this like, I was gonna say it has sibling love, but I guess it does. It has a very complicated sibling relationship. And I read Anna Darken by Kirsten White, and this one follows Lada, who is Vlad the Impaler but gender bent. And so it's like a historical fiction. It is a fantasy but definitely no magic in it, so it feels more just like a historical fiction but gender bent, but there's no magic. Heard a lot about it for many years and I had it for a long while, and now I finally picked it up. So we follow Lada, and she also has her brother, what's his name? Radu, and it follows both of their point of views, and they definitely have a really complex relationship. I wouldn't say it's about sibling love, but like definitely they have love for each other, but it's very complex. It's not like they go around clinging on each other, but definitely have a really deep complex relationship, as I said. Lada's always been like the fighter, the warrior, where the brother is more like the silent political dude. Then they become friends with Mehmed, who is like the sultan's son, also like the future sultan. So they become this trio and they work together. And not at times, and yeah, so they start with them being really young, and I thought we would skip in time. We do skip in time a bit, but I didn't think we would spend that long in like their childhood. I mean, like, they're not childs, they're like teens, but like I thought we would skip more up. I don't know why. I forgot kind of. I was a YA, I guess. But we spent a long time, like in a certain amount of time. I thought like we would skip more. I don't know why. I can't explain it. But yeah. And it's very slow. Very slow. And I know a lot of the criticism for this book is that it was so slow that people fell asleep or something. But I really liked it. I really liked the slow pace, how we get to see all the characters and how they move and how they develop, like all the things going on. And I just really, really, really enjoyed it, okay? I was so surprised by how much I liked it, and Rado also turns out to be gay, by the way, and it was just so good. It had just so many good parts. I really liked how it was written. It was just a really solid story for me. I definitely can see that it's slow paced, and when I was like at 100 page, 150, 200 mark, I was like, okay, are we just gonna go like this the whole time? But then we did, and I was so fine with it because it just fell into the story, and then it just felt natural. So now I'm super excited to pick up the sequel soon, and I have it, but I don't have the third book. But I'm just really excited to see where the story will go, and I was so surprised about how much I liked it, and I'm really, really happy about it. So yay. So far, like all of these books I enjoyed like a lot, so I clearly pick out good things for myself. But yeah, I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars, and I really recommend it. But yeah, I was surprised. I think I had low expectations because I heard so many mixed things about it, because there was someone who didn't like it for different reasons. But then for me, I was just like, oh my god, this is so good, and this is something I really enjoy. It makes me want to read more historical fiction, but a lot of historical fiction can be very heavy, and this one, since it was YA, wasn't that heavy, so Thank God for that. The next challenge was to read a book you read before 2010? Yep. So I decided to reread Twilight by Stephanie Meyer because Midnight Sun came out the next month, like this was in July. And I was going to read Midnight Sun, so I decided to reread Twilight. And I know, okay, like, we all know that Twilight has its issues, but I've been thinking more about it lately and I've been reading more about it, and I watched like this one video where it was really good where it talked about the criticism in Twilight, and it's just such a flawed book. It has so many problematic issues that I don't know, I feel like I always like just heard Twilight sucks, but like actually having the reasons behind it makes it like, oh yeah, Twilight does really suck, but it does have its, I was gonna say moments, but it doesn't really. It's not a solid story and has done damaging things, truly. But what am I saying? I'm gonna read whatever comes out anyway because I'm trash. How did I even talk about this? That's what I'm saying. I'm not the right person to talk about things because I cannot function as a person to even speak. So I loved Twilight, and I don't love Twilight how I used to. I don't blindly love. I'm not blindly interested in this, okay? But I will read it with good humor and laugh my ass out. It's really important to know that Twilight does have a lot of problematic issues, and not have this as your role model for example, romance. Do know this person who's gonna read Twilight. But I read it with good humor in a way that I am hilariously laughing because it's so ridiculous at times. And I get soft in my heart, not because I love Edward Cullen, but just because it brings a lot of good memories back. Yeah, I'm not gonna unhaul them. I never unhaul anything, so I'm not gonna unhaul anything either way, but I cannot speak about Twilight apparently. You can clearly see that. But yeah, I'm gonna read Midnight Sun now in August. And I don't know if I'm excited or scared that like it's gonna be shit. I don't know. I definitely appreciate what Stephanie Meyer did for my love of reading at the time when it came, and rereading it now was, but again, I could go into details of like what Twilight did wrong. That would take a long while. So overall, I didn't give it a rating because I don't know what to rate it. I think like if I rate it how I rate books now, it would probably be like 2 to 3 star read, I think. But yeah, I don't know what to say apparently. This was just a mess, I know, but we're just gonna move on. Part of me loves Twilight, but I don't love Twilight, get it? So the next challenge and the last one for July was to read a book that was translated or like not originally in English. So I decided to just pick up another Murakami book, and I read Hardboiled Wonderland and the End of the World. And I don't know how to describe this book because it was so strange. His books are so weird, but I like them. They're literally the kind of weird that you cannot get anywhere else. I never read more weird things than reading Murakami's books. That's all I have to tell you. The description behind it just like was so weird. It just says nothing. But yeah, it basically follows this dude that we don't know the name of, by the way, so I would just call him this man who gets this task of like sorting files in his head because it's like kind of like he can do that, and then like the files turns out to be like people really seek after them, and then like people come after him to try to get them and information about his skull. I cannot deal. We also follow another place where we're in this town where this dude has just arrived, and he is in this town and we don't know where and what and who and whatever it is. And I don't know what more to tell you. I cannot, okay? It's basically that story. And Murakami is so strange, you cannot talk about it. I feel like I could only talk about this with someone who's actually read a book. I don't know how to even like review it for you because it's so strange. But it works. Like the story definitely works. It comes together. I just think it's really interesting how Murakami still chooses, at this point at least, because I haven't read all his books. In fact, like, I read Kafka on the Shore and I'm pretty sure they had names in that one. But like in this one and the last ones I read, no one characters has names. They're always just described with something. And it's very interesting that you can write a whole story without names, because I don't think you encounter that so often these days. And yeah, just the concept is so strange and weird, and I don't think I read anything so strange and weird as I said. And I think like some people would really hate this, but for me it's like, I don't think about the philosophy, I don't think about like the deep meaning. I just read the story and I see how it comes together and I'm like, oh okay, and it's super strange, but I like it. So I give it 4 out of 5 stars. But it's like questioning 4 out of 5 stars. Not like I read it less, but it's like I don't even know what happened, but I kind of know what happens. I don't know, it's impossible, okay? I don't know. Now oh yes, the first challenge was to read a book set in university or college, so the characters are not in high school. I read Let's Talk About Love by Claire Can on my Kindle, and this one is a story following a asexual main character. She's also bi-romantic. Now I can't remember her first name because I suck, okay? And it basically follows her trying to find out what she wants to major in college, even though it's like she's already there and stuff, but she needs to choose a major and she hasn't done that yet, so she needs to find a path in life. She also meets this super cute boy at work, but she's really hesitant going into a relationship or going romantically with him because other people don't understand being asexual and wouldn't accept it, and she just was broken up with by her girlfriend who like was pissed at her for being asexual. So yeah, it was really nice to read about this kind of representation because I know more and more representation of asexuality is coming and has come, but it's still so little of it. So it's really, really good to read about it and learn more about it and educate yourself in general in all things minority, of course. And I really liked it. I liked the romance. I liked the main character who were like just learning about not just her sexuality but her personality and just her life. And she also had this really interesting friendship dynamic because she has 2 best friends and then they started dating each other, and then she's like, oh, I'm the third wheel now, and it was a really interesting dynamic because then she kind of pushed them away when she got a new friend. And yeah, I think that kind of friendship dynamics are interesting to read about. The only problem I had, I think, with this, as I remember, is that it was a lot of telling not showing. I know a lot of things happen off page and I tell you about it afterwards, like different things they did, and I know that they can't have every single moment in the book and that's fine, but I wanted to see more and it could have totally been longer, so I would not mind like 100 pages more to get more details into their lives. But overall, a really solid contemporary, soft and cute, but with hardship in it. I think I'm thinking hard. It made me cry, and I realized, because I'm going to mention this very soon, that I cry not when romance things happens, but when family steps up. So I realized this last few months, this summer, that I'm very soft on family things. I love the found family trope, and I love like friend group trope because like they're like all soft for each other and do everything for each other, and I love that. And here, like, there was just one soft moment where like her dad, and like I didn't cry about anything else, but that made me cry because it was just so soft. And I don't know what it is with me, and like when family steps up and like when someone steps up with someone, I'm like a crybaby. So yeah, give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think, oh my god, I like giving everything here the same rating. The next challenge was to read a book with a random number generator. The one that was picked up for my whole TBR of 400 plus books was The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron, and this one I've had for a while, and it's a YA dystopia where every, what's it called, I think every 12 years or 8 years, every how many years? Every 12 years, yes. The whole city forgets everything. Like they lose all the memories. So I need to write down in these books everything that's happened with them, so like when they forget, they can check the books and see which kind of person they are. But this gave kind of this freedom to like change their personality, change themselves, or like leave behind things you thought were uncomfortable, etc. Like the last few days of like the forgetting, right before it happens, people go like totally crazy and like start killing and hitting and I was gonna say raping each other, and yeah, it's horrible because after forgetting, people wouldn't remember that anyway. So yeah, it has an interesting concept, it has an interesting like the psychology behind knowing you will forget, what do you do about it, and I really like that kind of dig into the humanity side of it. But it wasn't enough of that to make it a good book, I think, because it focused a lot of like shitty romance and like weird things that like I was not interested in, and like the things behind it all was just so weird, and then like a resolution to it all was weird. I keep using the word weird, but I guess like the thing I want to say, it wasn't disturbed, it didn't feel authentic to the story, and I feel like the harsh themes in this could have been just so much more explored upon, but it just became this like really one-sided boring sandwich that we didn't really want. And yeah, I was disappointed. I know a lot of people were disappointed in this, so I had kind of low expectations and they were all met, so that's great. I don't remember if I gave it 2 or 3 out of 5 stars, but I was not a big fan. Probably my least favorite of all the ones here in Got a Thing for Summer. So it was one book I didn't really particularly like, and I wouldn't really recommend it either, because I kind of just want to forget that I read it. I don't have the sequel, and I don't know when I would pick it up, but I'm the kind of person who always finishes my things. I probably would read it, but I think it's more for companion, so that would be interesting. But yeah, it turned out the thing behind it all was it turned out really strange, but I like the concept. So yeah, I was so disappointed of the resolution and what was behind it all. So disappointed. And the next challenge was to read a book you highly anticipated, and for this I had chosen Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. I didn't get my copy in time, even though we're still in August, but I got the audiobook from NetGalley, so I was like, oh, thank you, and then I listened to the audiobook, so fulfilled challenge, yay. And a full review of this is up on my channel now, so you can always check that out, so I won't spend that long talking about it here. But yeah, it's a YA mystery thriller following Margaret, who's always just been with her mother, and she's trying to find the rest of her family, and she finds this clue and goes to this small town, and then there is a whole mystery spawning out of that. And I really liked the atmosphere of this book. I liked the writing, Margaret, who is a lesbian. I liked all the characters' dynamics and stuff. I just think the mystery itself, the resolution to it was a bit weird for me, but because Wiley Girls by the same author was weird all along, so then it worked for me. But this one just was kind of normal YA contemporary thriller, and then it turned into really strangely, and I think that shift for me just didn't vibe that well with me, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I like Violet Girls, but I still really liked the book, and I'm very, very intrigued and interested to see what was behind it all. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I still really enjoyed it, but that was my main issue with it. And yay! And then the next and last challenge was to choose a book that has the same first letter in the title as your name. So my name is Sandra, and I chose Second Chance Summer. It starts with an S. Also, the and A didn't count in this, so it was D Hunger Games, then you can start on the H if you wanted to. Not that that matters anymore now, because it's over, but yeah, I felt disclosing that. So Second Chance Summer is very summery, so it's perfect for Got a Thing for Summer. And it follows Taylor, whose father is now very sick, and they're gonna spend this last summer on this summer house that I haven't been in for, is it 5 years? I don't remember. And last time she was there, she ran away from things that happened, and she shouldn't have. She ran away from her kind of boyfriend Dan and her best friend, and she hasn't talked to either of them since. And yeah, so it follows her going to the summer with her family that are not they don't hate each other, but they're not really close, but in the summer they really do find family. And I just said, as I said, that family is my weakness, right? And here we are again. Overall, I didn't really I didn't mind the romance, but I didn't really care about it. I knew that the romance was gonna blossom, and I knew what was gonna happen with it, so it wasn't really a big deal for me, because I feel I was gonna say I'm immune against romances now, but I thought that, and then I read Felix Ever After and I died because it was so precious. So that's a lie. But these kind of romances, I'm very oh, I know how this is gonna turn out. She has this thing where she runs away when things get hard, and I knew that this was gonna be her main development, that she's gonna learn to not run away when things get hard, and that was exactly what happened. And I was oh. So overall, when I read through it, I was not that emotional. I was not that impressed by it. I didn't hate it or anything. I was just oh, this is a person's book, I don't know what to tell you. And then it hits, okay? As I said, the father is sick, so I don't really need to tell you what's gonna happen there. And dang, I was crying so much. I was at my best friend's house, and I just came into her after finishing the book, and I stood there and I was still crying, and she was seriously? I cried, I think, for the last few pages. I think I cried for at least 10 to 20 minutes, and the tears did not stop. I couldn't see the page because I was crying so much, and I really thought that and it was so obvious, I was gonna be okay, I know it's gonna come, so I should be prepared. but I thought I was, but I was not. I wouldn't say that, no, that makes the whole book great, because I still think the character development and the romance was like, but like the finding family, the family coming close together, the last part, it was just, it mushed my heart to pieces. So it was like a 3-star read, and then it became 4 stars. So yeah, crying that much, oh my god, like I haven't cried that much in ages. And I hate reading books, I don't hate it like that, but like reading books about people who are sick is hard, because you know they have this hardship. That doesn't mean that we should avoid people who are sick, that's not what I mean, but you know it's gonna be sad, and not everyone likes being sad. And I thought I was more hard-hearted than that, or that I wouldn't feel it that much, like I would be sad, but that was intense tears, I tell you. Basically, my review of this is I cried, so that's great. Just because you cry, by the way, doesn't mean the book of course is good, but like it really hit hard. Just because, like as I said, her development was expected, like she chooses not to run away and stuff anymore. Still hits a bit, not the character development, but like just because it was expected doesn't mean it was bad, because it's still important that she ran through this journey. The point of a book is to go to development and stuff. And that's what happened. So yeah, I can't speak, but it was a solid story in the end, and it was my first Morgan Mathen book, and I have been collecting, okay, I have one more, but I am trying to collect them because I know a lot of people praise them hard, and now I'm excited to read more of hers and see what I feel about them. Yay! I'm done. Oh my god, they're falling. That was my thought for my Gotta Think for Summer books. Gotta Think for Autumn is up soon, and then I will wrap them up in the end of November. Oh my god. Planning my reads 3 months ahead of time is weird, and wrapping it up 3 months later is weird. So I don't know who decided to do this challenge thing, but it's working out, but it's weird. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and you will see me soon in a new one. Bye!